News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris. The Senate Banking Committee is holding confirmation hearings for President Trump's nominee for Fed Chair, Kevin Warsh. Warsh would succeed Jay Powell, whose term expires May 15th. He served as a board governor from 2006 to 2011. Ranking member of the Senate Banking Committee, Elizabeth Warren, grilled Warsh on the independence of the Fed and whether he would be influenced by the White House.
Donald Trump has made clear that he does not want an independent Fed, and he's made clear that you are his sock puppets, saying last week that interest rates will drop, quote, when Kevin gets in. Yeah, I think they do.
Later, Republican Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana asked Warsh a follow-up to that.
Are you going to be the president's human sock puppet?
Senator, absolutely not.
Are you going to be anybody's human sock puppet?
No, I'm honored the president nominated me for the position, and I'll be an independent actor if confirmed as chairman of the Federal Reserve.
Warsh says the president never asked him to commit to any particular interest rate decision. Turning now to Iran, the U.S. is waiting to see if Iran will take part in a second round of talks before a ceasefire expires tomorrow, with the sides deadlocked on how to end the war. President Trump told CNBC he does not want to extend the ceasefire.
I think we're in a very strong negotiating position to do what other presidents should have done during a 47-year period.
And now CNN is reporting Vice President J.D. Vance, who was expected to head to Pakistan for those talks, will actually be in meetings today at the White House, and it is not clear when he'll leave for Pakistan. President Trump says perhaps the federal government can help Spirit Aviation, the discount carrier facing the possibility of liquidation.
I don't mind mergers. I think I'd love somebody to buy Spirit, as an example. You know, Spirit's in trouble.
President Trump spoke on CNBC. Spirit Aviation shares shot up 137%. Energy Secretary Chris Wright told a Senate panel that gasoline prices peaked a week ago. Retail gasoline prices have surged by more than $1 a gallon since the war with Iran began in late February. WTI now more than $94 a barrel, and Brent crude now topping $98 a barrel. Shoppers accelerated their spending in March from February, but they spent most of their money at the gas pump. That spike in gas prices resulting in a hefty 1.7% gain in March. The Commerce Department report marks the first read on spending to capture the effects of the Iran war. We do check markets for you all day long here at Bloomberg. The S&P 500 down 0.2%, NASDAQ down 0.1%, and the Dow also down 0.1%. The 10-year Treasury yield at 4.29% and the 2-year yield at 3.77%. The Securities and Exchange Commission closely monitoring the emerging pressures within the private credit market as redemption requests persist amid rising default rate projections.
Let me be clear that opacity in this space can be an issue, that valuation, transparency, and credit quality are key, that higher fees and less liquidity must be taken into account regarding the appropriateness of an investment.
SEC Chairman Paul Atkins spoke ahead of an interview with David Rubenstein at the Economic Club of Washington, D.C., and you can hear that entire interview on the Bloomberg Podcast's YouTube page. General Electric's first quarter profit beat Wall Street expectations as the company works to sidestep disruptions tied to the war in Iran. Shares of GE down about 6%. UnitedHealth shares are nearly 9% higher on a blowout earnings beat. Bloomberg's Dan Curtis reports the stock's collapse last year seems to be in the rear view.
The insurance giant's first quarter adjusted earnings of $7.23 per share topped even the highest analyst estimate. The company lifted its full-year adjusted earnings guidance by 15 cents to $18.25 per share, and that's after a key gauge of medical costs came in better than expected.
Bloomberg's Dan Curtis reports UnitedHealth also announced about a $2 billion stock buyback. That also boosted CVS shares, now more than 1% higher after UnitedHealth reported its quarterly results. And we're waiting for United Airlines earnings after the closing bell. Starbucks is spending $100 million on a new Nashville corporate office expected to be home to 2,000 jobs in the next 5 years. The company is moving forward with plans to relocate its headquarters from Seattle to Nashville. Starbucks shares more than 1.5% lower. With Democrats controlling the legislature and a relatively new Democratic governor, Abigail Spanberger, Virginia voters are deciding today whether to approve a referendum that would redraw their state's congressional districts to favor Democrats by a 10-to-1 margin. Bloomberg government's Zach Cohen has more from Washington.
This was kicked off by this a couple of months ago and then responded to in California, as each party has tried to gerrymander lines in order to get a partisan advantage in hopes of netting just a couple of extra seats in the upcoming House elections.
Bloomberg government Zach Cohen reports that Democrats raised more than $64 million in support of the new map. President Trump weighed in on the vote on social media, urging Virginians to vote no on the referendum. That's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris, and this is Bloomberg.